In After Effects, 3D cameras are very efficient to create even better 3D animations. In this section, you will learn all about the camera properties, how to create a camera from its presets, and how to use all the camera tools in the View and Active Camera panels. I will show you how to animate the camera through its local axis system, how to pan, move, and rotate the camera, paying attention to its point of interest. You will learn how to create an orbit null to simplify the camera animation and create some awesome motion graphics. So get your camera, guys, and let's dive in the first lecture. And welcome to Cameras in Adobe After Effects CC 2018. Cameras are very interesting and they will allow you to make some awesome animations, but you have to be patient. Take it step by step. They're not very easy to animate. So you need first to understand the whole system, and then your animation will start taking shapes. It's not like position and rotation. You need to understand the 3D, and you need to understand how a camera moves in reality and in After Effects. If you want to follow along with me, and I will appreciate that, please open the file 3D cameras-start.aep. When you open this file, you're supposed to be in the minimal workspace. If not, come over and select your minimal workspace, and then you can reset it. In the minimal workspace, I would like you to put two views here, two views horizontal, and this view over here, you click on it and you select Custom View 1. We have seen all this in the previous section when you've been introduced to the 3D. Please double click on Intro to Cameras, Composition, so we can see it in the Active and the Custom View 1. Let's start by creating a camera. A camera is a camera layer. Of course, you guessed that, I'm sure. To explain to you very clearly how to create a camera and all the presets and the parameters involved, first I will create a camera, then edit this camera and show you how it works. To create a new camera layer, you just right-click in your timeline, you go to New, and you go to Camera. Of course, you can come to your layer, go New, and you have Camera over here. I'll select this option. Now, the camera settings has opened, and I have a preset here of 50mm. This is the default camera for After Effects. I'll click OK to create this camera, and then, like we said, I'll come back and edit it to show you how the parameters will work. Now, first of all, let's notice what happened. There is a big gizmo here. This is your camera. It has what the camera is seeing for now. You notice this rectangle. It has a cone here. And the most important about the cone is the angle of view here. Just this angle here. And it has its axis. And the small cube over here is the camera. If you come to the comp, you notice you're still in Active Camera. If you turn down Active Camera here, you notice that you have Camera 1. Since you have only one camera, the active camera is Camera 1. You can select Camera 1, is no difference. But if you have more than one camera, you will need to set the right camera. I'll keep it to Active Camera for now. To edit the camera settings, you just double-click on the camera layer here. Now, there are two types of cameras, the two-node camera and the one-node camera. The two-node camera has a point of interest. The one-node camera does not have a point of interest. The one-node camera will prove to be very useful later on. We're going to do an exercise about it where you don't want to worry about the point of interest. So don't disregard one-node camera. I will go back to two-node camera. You have here the preset. If you click, you will have different default cameras here, from 15mm to 200mm. I will stay on the 50mm camera. You have here the zoom, that's the distance between the camera lens and all of your composition. If you are in units, please go back to pixel just to see this figure. You see it's 1280. So it's the distance between the camera lens and all of your composition. It is not the distance to your layer. Okay, I'll go back to millimeters, it's easier. And then you have the angle of view. This is how wide or narrow the camera is viewing your composition. Pretty easy when you start changing the values. And you have the focal length. Notice in millimeters, the focal length is equal to the preset itself. Then you have the enable depth of field. If you put it on, you will have a depth of field. The depth of field will create some blurring. For example, if I take it small, okay, notice how in the comp viewer here things are getting very blurred. The further away a layer is from the depth of field, more it will blur. I will disable it just to start simply. Let's go now and select a 15mm camera. Now notice what changed. First of all, the zoom distance. Now this camera has a bigger angle of view and will see your composition from a bigger angle. Because the angle is bigger, your layers have become smaller. The camera can see more. And the focal length has become 15mm. If you go, for example, for, I don't know, 135, notice the angle of view has become very small. The camera can see a lot on the far distance. Notice the zoom distance has increased. So the camera can see more on a further distance. The angle of view is very small. And of course, the focal length has changed. If you go, for example, exaggerate to 200, okay, you notice the camera now has become even longer if you'd like to. The angle of view has become very small. It's 10 only. This is the angle of view here. And the zoom distance is 2500. So each camera will present certain benefits for your animation. I'll go back to 50mm, and you can come over and start playing with these values. For example, you can increase the angle of view. Now you don't have a preset, it became custom. You can come and play with these values and set your camera the way you want. You have the film size here. I like it very much. It's like, what is the size of your film? If you remember a long time ago, they had rolls. So you can make the roll bigger if you like to. So it works pretty fine. Cool, guys. So let's go back to 50mm and click OK. So now you understood the concept of creating a camera. Usually, I will use the 35mm. That's cool for me. You can use any one you want. But if you're doing the same exercise, please use the same camera I'm using. You can change all these properties from the layer itself. And you can keyframe them also. So any camera you create will be okay. In the animation, you can change these values and work the way you like. I will click OK. And we have our first camera here, 35mm. And in the next lecture, we'll continue about cameras. Welcome, guys, to more about cameras. And in this lecture, I will show you how to use the camera tools if it is in the views, the custom view, or any other view, and in the active camera, that is your composition. Now, in the previous lecture, you created a camera of 35mm with standard preset. If you haven't done so, please create your camera. You right-click, new, and you go to camera, and you create your camera. For me, it's camera 2 because we have camera 1. You create your camera with the 35mm only, so we can look at the same camera. Now, in the camera tools here, if you long click, you have 4 of them. You have the unified camera tools, the orbit, XY track, and Z track. I will demonstrate for you the orbit camera tool. When you use the camera tools in your custom view, you will be just customizing the view. You will be changing the view itself. There will be no transform properties within the camera that will change. It's only the view that you're working with. Okay, guys? So here, when you manipulate, this is a free rotation tool somehow. And notice how the point of interest is fixed. So actually here, you're playing with the view. Now, let's come to the camera and open the transform. So I will drill it down, open the transform. When you use any camera tool inside your active camera, inside your composition, and you do some transformation, you will be really changing the properties within the transform. Notice how the position now is changing, not the point of interest. So actually here, you are setting certain properties to certain values. Now, the orbit tool is just about orbiting. It's more than rotating. You notice how it works, and the point of interest does not move. Let's go and select the other one, which is the track XY. Let's call it XY tool. In the custom view, you will be just setting the X and Y, just moving the whole camera with all the layer, and you position it wherever you want. This is pretty important because sometimes you don't have enough space to see all your layers and the camera you start coming out and so on. So this is very feasible to adjust your view to be able to see it much better according to the camera, of course. In the active camera, of course, you guessed it, if you go left, you will move on the x-axis. You notice over here, the point of interest and the position are changing. Okay? You notice how the point of interest and the position is changing. When we were here, they were all moving. Okay? Here, we are doing some very important transformations. So left and right, up and down. Pretty feasible, and it doesn't confuse you with the rotation. Let's take the last one now, which is the Track Z Camera tool, or the Z tool. If you click over here, you can zoom in and out. Now, it's much better to use this tool going right or left. Up and down is not so precise. Right and left will do better. So if you want to zoom into your camera, see your layers, you'll put it over here. But when you come to the active camera now, and you click and drag, you are zooming in and out. Notice in the position how the Z value or the Z value is changing. Here you are. So you're zooming out and you're zooming in. Now let's find out about the unified camera tool. Within the view, if you use the left click of the mouse, you will be in the orbit tool. Okay, fine. If you use the right click, you will be in the zoom tool. Cool, guys? As simple as this. So this is the left click, orbit. Right click is the zoom. If you have a middle mouse button or a scroll button, if you click on it, you will be now in the XY tool. It's very practical when you're using the active camera here. So you click on the left, you orbit it the way you would like. You click on the right, you zoom in or out very easily. Here you are. And the middle one here, you are now panning left and right or XY. Okay. I would like to draw your attention that sometimes when you change the position, also the point of interest changed. This happens mainly when you're using the X tool, XY tool. Notice that it's panning left and right, up and down with the point of interest. Okay, guys? There is a very important concept that you will discover in the next lecture. Another option that you have here, if you long click, you will notice they are all C. So let's say you have the unified camera tool selected and your mouse is only a single button, for example. You can press C to move in between the tools. This is unified. You press C, it will go to the orbit tool. Here you are. If you press another C, it will go to the track XY panning. If you press another C, it will go to the zoom. Okay, and then if you press another C, it will go back to the unified tool. Of course, here you have to skip it if your mouse has only a single button. So please, guys, go to After Effects, start playing with the tools. It's very important that you get used to them. I know in the beginning they'll be like, which key am I pressing? Don't worry about it. Just play around, mess up what you want. It's all about fun. If you don't have fun playing with those tools, when you get it too serious, it's not gonna work. So take it easy, get used to them. I hope you will have a lot of fun. You have learned how to create a camera of your choice, and you have learned how to use the camera tools. In this lecture, I want to expand a bit. We're still in the same file. This is 3dcameras-start.aep. And I would like you to open the composition camera animation, which is blank. If you right click on it and go to composition settings, you will see that it's a 1280 by 720. In the image folders, I upgraded the file from previous lectures. You have 3 images here. The first image is 5257 pixels by 3500 almost. The second one is 5500 by 3000. And the last one is the 1920 by 1011. I will use the last one. So I click on it and just drag it and drop it inside the composition. I'll make it 3D. Now I will adjust the image size. I will right click on it, go to transform, and here you say fit to comp. I would like you now to create the camera. So right click, say new, and you go to camera. And here let's use the 50 millimeters. I click OK, here you are. In the custom view, you have the camera, which has covered the whole composition. If you remember, in the composition settings, if you go to pixels, the comp size is 1280 and the zoom is set in a way that will cover the whole composition. So now the camera is covering the whole comp. That's very fine. Go back to the image here. Right click on it and go back to transform and select reset. Now you notice you can see what's outside the composition. The image here is bigger than the comp. The comp is 1280, the image is 1920, so it's bigger than the comp. And in 3D, you can see outside the comp depending on how you direct the camera. So you can have a huge image here, like the one of the old house, and you can see all over the image using the camera. Let's select the camera now and see how you can move the camera using the axis. The first movement is just to click and drag one of the axes. For example, if you go on the Z, you click and drag, you notice that it's zooming in too, but also the point of interest is moving in with the zoom. Here you are, I'll take it out. The point of interest is moving also. I will undo this. Now, let's try the Y-axis. You can click on it and drag it up or down. So actually, you can think about this movement like panning up and down. So you and the camera is stable on in your hand. You're just going up and down. So it's all of you that's going up and down. Or maybe you're taking the camera up and down with your hands. And the point of interest is moving with the camera. I will undo this again. Let's go now for the X-axis. If you click and drag, you are panning left and right. Here you are. You notice how? It's like you're holding the camera and you are the one taking a step on the sides, you know, left or right. Here, it's panning left and right. I will undo this. Now there is another movement that you can do with the camera. If you point to an axis, for example, the Y-axis, and you press the Control key. If you are on the Mac, please press the Command key. Click on the axe and take it up. The point of interest is not moving, and hence you are not panning anymore. You are actually directing the camera by flipping it left and right or turning the camera in your hand. So actually now you are stable, the camera is in your hand, and the camera is the one that's moving up and down or going on a certain axis in your hand, a certain angle. Here you are. Notice that's a very nice animation you can do. And also you can do the same with the X. I will undo this, not to complicate things. If you press Control, Command on the Mac, and you go left, you notice what you're doing. Okay, it's pretty cool. Right, guys? So these are the ways to animate the camera. Since you understood this, I will open now the transformation. I hope you understood. I hope I was very clear. I will reset the camera here. Now let's start panning, for example, with the Y-axis. And I want you to start looking at the point of interest and position values over here. If you click and go up, the point of interest and the position values are changing. You notice, guys, the point of interest and the position values are changing because the point of interest is also moving. Cool. Undo that. For the X now, you notice that the values for point of interest and position is changing. Okay, and for the Z, the same, you know, they will both change. And now let's use the control or the command on the Mac. I press Control, press on Command on the Mac, and then I'll click and drag. Notice only the position is moving. Okay, so we agreed on this. It's very easy, by the way. If you use another axis like the X, I have Control pressed. Notice what's happening. It's moving left and right. You are actually moving where the camera is pointing, keeping the point of interest in place. You notice point of interest here did not change values. Now this is very important, mainly for the Z, okay, because the point of interest does not move, so you are somehow focused. So this is about how to create movements with the camera. Yet there is more powerful than that. I will show you in the next lectures. For now, I would like you to come over here and start playing with the axis. Just move the camera around. Of course, you remember, guys, you can click on the camera itself and start moving it around freely. Okay, that will be fun. And of course, the point of interest will be fixed. If you press Control here, there is no change. Okay, so you can use the axis or use the camera itself. You click on it and start moving it the way you would like. So you learned a lot in this lecture. First, you learned that you can see beyond the composition if your image or your video is bigger than the comp, and actually you can put many of them all around. okay, and pan around. Okay, you've seen these animations, I'm sure. And also you learned the difference between panning, left, right, up and down, and zoom in and out, and how to create a movement with the point of interest stable. You will be flipping now the camera in your hand, left, right, up, down, and in and out. So in the previous lecture, guys, you have seen how to use the axis to move around the camera. In this lecture, let's animate it. Let's create some keyframes. Now you could use this image to animate, but you can also use the bigger ones that will give you more space to animate. You can use the camera building if you like. It's a big one, it's a nice one. I will use the old house here. Click on it, drag and put it under. Okay. Put off the camera space. And I can see this one is very big if you notice. Okay, it's very big one. Cool. I'll go back to 100% and switch it to 3D. Now, what's my project here? Well, I want to start from over here, okay, somewhere over here. Pan to the right, okay, with some zooms and so on. Give it a few frames to stay over here, then come back and zoom on this door, just here on these windows and door here, to show that the house has been vacant for very long. So let's start. Well, I will select my camera. Now, this is my view. I'm comfortable. You might not be comfortable. You might want to zoom in. I'm using the mouse scroll here to zoom in and out. I'm happy with that. You can come and choose your C, click on C, and then you have the zoom in, okay, and adjust the way you would like. I'll just do it just like this, okay, so we can see all of it. And then I will go for the selection tool. Now the camera here has a label. You can click on it and make it, for example, yellow to see it a bit better. Let's start animating. I will scroll the mouse to zoom in. Okay, I'm not zooming in with the camera tools. And then I want to position the camera just over here. Now I press space bar and move it just like you used to do there. Then I will use the x-axis, move it to this side. Okay, I'm gonna press shift for it to move faster. You know, slowly. Okay, here you are. Fine. I don't like this view. Let me take it up a bit. Okay, this view is okay. How about if I zoom in a bit? No, zoom out, in fact. Okay, I'm coming to the end here. So I press shift, click on the z-axis and zoom out a bit. Okay, we can see the black border here. So I'll just put it inside. Cool, that's fine. It's not fantastic, but it's okay, guys. So now I'll keyframe the point of interest and the position. Notice I clicked on point of interest and also automatically it has keyframed the position. That's cool. Let's come after 4 seconds. Okay, I will zoom out now here and I wanted to bring the camera just to the end over here to the tree. I will click on the x-axis, press shift and move it just over here. Okay, fine. But you notice we came out. For this, I'm going to use the control or command on the Mac to turn the x-axis. Here you are. You notice how I'm turning them. Okay, it's working a bit, not so much, so I'm going to go back with it. So actually, I'm doing a trial and error. Okay, here you are. Fine. So we are on the tree. Let's look at our animation. If you scrub through, it's not bad, but it's not fantastic. Okay, you need to work on it. Now notice over here, we don't even see the top. How about if we take it up? We are going to create a new keyframe. Here you are. Notice I took it out. Let's run the animation. Goes up a bit. Very nice. Well, I think here it can use a zoom. What do you think, guys? I will zoom out. Okay, not bad. It's working. And let's look at it again at our animation. So because I'm doing a random one, I don't really have a big project. Something went wrong. You notice something went wrong here? Okay, it's jumping. This is because there is a duplicate keyframes, if you notice. Let's come over here. Okay, and zoom in. And you notice you have 2 keyframes here. So I'm going to delete these 2. Okay, we go back. And then let's play it again. Not bad. It's working very fine. Cool. When it arrives at the end here, I want to select these 2 keyframes. Control C, Control V. Keep it not for a second, a bit less. Okay, I think this is cool. So you notice also there is another jump. This is also because of the interpolation. So I'll take this keyframe, right click on one of them and go to keyframe interpolation and put it to linear. Click OK. Here you are. You have now a nice animation that's stable over here. come over to, for example, 8 seconds. I want to return it. I will take it back. Okay, here is the houses here. And then maybe I will use the control or command on the Mac and just focus it a bit better. Okay, I'll take it out again without the control this time. I'm just panning. Okay, and then I will zoom in. Here you are. Okay, just literally zoom in even more. Well, I'm going past the doors and so on, so I'll move it out. And I think, to move the Y with the control, so it doesn't pan, it just goes down. The view goes down, just like this. Another panning. Here you are, I'm getting there. Okay, fine. And then let's zoom in. Not bad. And here you are. Okay, let's see my fantastic animation. It's a random one, of course, just to show you. It moves, not bad, stops, and go towards the window or the door and so on. Fine. So actually, this is how you would animate. Now, very nicely, you have here a motion path. You can actually start playing with the motion path. So I'll do it like this, just random. Of course, after you finish your animation, you want really to be very precise with your motion path. So I'll just come over here. Can I catch this one? I will use the zoom tool because I can't catch this one, and zoom in. So now I can see it. I use the selection tool and just move it over here. Fine. Let's go back to fit and see our animation with the motion path. Here you are. It's getting very messy, but it's cool. It's very amusing, by the way. Okay. Now you want to make sure that you're playing with the motion path of the camera and not the motion path of the point of interest. Okay, guys? So I think it's cool. You can play around more with it if you like. If you look at the camera, where is it? It's over here. It's moving. It's going up. Okay, and it's very cool. If you try to use the handles of the motion path of the point of interest, you might get in a lot of trouble because it's going to start focusing somewhere else. In our case here, it worked very nice. So actually, what have I achieved? Artistic wise, absolutely nothing. But I demonstrated to you how you can start animating. And of course, when you have a purpose, you're not doing it random, then the animation can look very good and very beautiful. Here you are, guys. You know how to animate now. You can come over, select them all, press F9 to easy ease them if you like to. It's okay, we play. Not bad. So this is a simplistic example of how to animate using the axis, and I recommend that you do that. With one-note camera, it will be even easier. Now, it's up to you. Come over here, use the building if you like, and use the space if you like, and try to animate it using the axis. It doesn't matter if your animation makes sense. What matters is that you move these things around, you create a motion path, do whatever you like, put a target in your mind. The window here you want to focus, make it all black. But it's very important that you come over here and start playing. You are most probably aware that the sun rotates around the earth, or the earth rotates around the sun. I'm sure you're aware of something like this. But I'm very sure that you will want to learn the orbit null in After Effects and get some planets rotating all over the place around the